One of many issues I see with the Tyranid faction on the tabletop and in the lore is that GW tries to give this truly alien race big-named characters. Within the lore of every faction, you are given heroes like Marnius Calgar, Gatskull Magoric Thraka, or Commander Farsight. But with the Tyranids, every named character feels forced. Because the Tyranids are so animalistic and homogenized, it feels like even these supposed named characters are not really unique, they're just slightly better than the standard stock. And I think the best way to explain this weird phenomenon that only occurs within the Tyranid faction is to go over the named characters of the Tyranids, and I'll let you guys describe what you feel about them in the comments below. And with that said, I want to welcome you guys back to another 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about the named characters of the Tyranid lore. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. What I try to do is create a video with a lore portion that inspires a hobby portion that then inspires a Q&A. Well, not really inspires a Q&A, but I have a Q&A section at the end of the video where I answer the questions and the comments that you guys left off in the previous 40 Facts video. So if you guys have any questions about the universe or any comments, just let me know what it is in the comment section below, and you'll hear my response the following day. If you guys like this type of content, hit the like button, tell your friends, and subscribe to the channel. But with all that said, let's get into the named characters of the Tyranids. The first named character we're going to take a look at is the good old Doom of Malentine, a highly adaptable Tyranid zoanthrope that earned his name by the terror it caused on the Eldar craft world of Malan'tai. The Doom of Malentine is just that. It is the creature that brought death and destruction to an entire craft world. It was a monster unlike any other, a beast that gorged not upon flesh and blood, but upon the life forces of its victims, leaving only soulless oblivion in its wake. The Doom of Malentine was an adaptation of the zoanthrope bioform. Its weak physical appearance belied its true horror. So it was that when a lone, wounded bioship invaded the craft world of Malentine, the Eldari did not at first realize that the true threat lay not with the towering Tyranid monster rampaging through their home, but with the unassuming creature left relatively unhindered to feed on the Eldari souls. As it fed, the Doom of Malentine's powers grew, the absorbed life energy enhancing its fearsome psychic might. Once it had gorged on the spirits of the craft world's infinity circuit, it was completely invulnerable, possessing the power to pulp Eldari warriors, snap wraithbone war constructs, and shatter towering spires with catastrophic bolts of psychic energy. The sheer ferociousness of this bioform caused the entire craft world to be abandoned, and so it was left drifting in space until many Terran years later when a Grey Knight Space Marine force found the floating craft world, and it was now a cold, lifeless shell. Of the loathsome creature that had brought about its destruction, there was absolutely no sign. While this is the only record of the Doom of Malentine, the rest of its history is up to the Tyranid players who wish to field this creature on the tabletop. There is, however, a longer-lived Tyranid character that plagued the battlefields of the Imperial mining world of Devlin Primus for nearly 20 years. The Tyranid Ravener known as the Red Terror. It first tore into a starport compound to get to its Imperial defenders, killing 24 of them before being driven away. Each time it returned, it slaughtered more humans before retreating back into the mining tunnel it had emerged from, devouring the carved-up human remains. Eventually, a search and destroy team was sent into the mining tunnels, only to meet their doom on the dripping sites of the Red Terror. Survivors spoke of the beast with a blood-colored carapace, talons that could tunnel through rockcrete, and a maw so wide it could swallow a human whole. With every retelling, the legends grew more fearsome and terrifying. Some claimed that the Red Terror was the size of a Ravener, others swore it was as big as a Trigon. The survivors of the Devlin massacre may have mistaken the attack of several creatures with one single beast. However, if the Red Terror is a distinctive Tyranid organism, it must be a highly efficient killer. It has never been reported since, but that may be because there have been no survivors left to tell the tale. What became of the Red Terror after these events is completely unknown. However, one giant ore ship fleeing from Devlin with its cargo of refugees arrived on the world of Adri's Hope, ominously dark and silent. No communication was forthcoming from the vessel, and it made an automated landing far from its habitation. Those investigating the ship found it to be a blood-drenched wreckage. Men, women, and children had been mercilessly butchered by the hundreds, perhaps thousands. Though a breach of quarantine was suspected to have allowed the Tyranid organism to get on board, nothing was found within the blood-slicked vessel. It is possible that the Red Terror was an early attempt by the hive mind to create a much larger Moloch or Trigon bioform. It was then released by the Tyranid Norn Queen to test the new strain's battle efficiency. Some Imperial scholars have even suggested that this creature was the first Tyranid Ravener, an experiment by the hive mind to create a fast-moving killing machine that would appear without warning and consume its prey whole. And since we're on the topic of the Trigon, let's talk about the next big Tyranid named character, the creature simply named What Lies Beneath. In recent Imperial records, an exceptionally large Trigon was confronted and slain during the invasion of the hive world of Castlebells in the Jericho Reach. Solar days after the first wave of mycetic spores from Hive Fleet Dagon descended upon the planet, security recordings from the ruins of Hive Trimilov showed a massive Trigon bursting through the hive's lower levels. The Imperial defenders that faced the beast coined the name What Lies Beneath. Within solar hours of its arrival, there was a major explosion within the hive's central plasma core, collapsing the city's power supply and slaying all the Xeno attackers. Without power to maintain internal ventilation, lighting, and power systems, let alone defensive weapons, the hive city's doom at the claws of the oncoming swarm was assured. A low-ranking tech priest who worked with the plasma core maintenance system was among the few survivors of the explosion. Mechwright Tolber endured extensive debriefings with inquisitorial agents, recounting the fine details of the event. Through these interviews, inquisitorial agents discovered that the plasma core was in the process of a long-overdue retrofit when the attack struck, as the Trigon burrowed beneath the Imperial hive, creating a tunnel for its attack. Its passage severed the massive pipes that carried the energy core's coolant fluid. The sacred fluids drained into a deep underground chasm in short order. Without any coolant, the nuclear fusion reaction soon escalated beyond the capacity of the containment vessel, leading to the explosion. There was no reason to expect a recurrence of this tactic. Consequently, the loss was explained as a tragic coincidence. But during the battles upon Kratos, a similar Trigon attack took place behind the lines that were believed to be secure. In this instance, the monstrous Tyranid creature led an assault upon a supply depot, where Imperial assets were stored and refitted. The base commander had violated standard Imperial deployment regulations and established the temporary Prometheum storage tanks far too close to the facility's field munitorum. Again, this may have been a tragic coincidence. The foul Xeno just happened to strike shortly after the depot had undergone a full resupply. An orbital resupply run had just topped off the Prometheum tanks. The munitorum had also recently completed a manufacturing cycle devoted to artillery units. Hundreds of thousands of potent explosive shells were awaiting transfer to an overdue transport shuttle. In combinations with the thousands of kiloliters of promethium, the depot was a lethal combination. The consequence of this timing was predictably disastrous. When the Trigon made its attack, a massive bioelectrical pulse ignited the field of promethium storage tanks. In short order, the intense fire spread to the munitorum. Then the artillery shells detonated in a catastrophic fashion. Between the detonations and the walls of flames, the depot was a near total loss. Hundreds of Imperial tanks and crews, thousands of train-supported staff, and a crucial resupply facility were all lost in a few moments. The only positive to be gleaned from the incident was that the Tyranid creature responsible was surely slain in the explosion as well. After that incident, several Imperial analysts noticed a similarity between the events upon Kratos and Castlebell. Since that time, several similar instances have been recorded. In all cases, an unusually large Trigon emerged amidst a seemingly secure location. In an instance, the monstrosity would trigger a disastrous explosion that vaporized substantial Imperial assets as well as the Tyranid responsible. Solar weeks or months later, a similar incident would occur on another world. Between pictographic records and sketches compiled from surviving interviews, additional elements began to crystallize a complete story. The Trigon, which was dubbed What Lies Beneath by the forces of the Aculus Crusade, was somehow capable of targeting Imperial stores of volatile substances. Once this information was deduced, further investigation linked the creature to additional attacks upon Imperial fortifications. In all instances, the facilities had received substantial chemical stores, or had altered the mechanisms by which the volatile chemicals were contained. Further analysis revealed that the creature was consistently accompanied by several Hormagaunt broods during the attack. None of the confirmed incidences included any other Tyranid strains as part of the assault. Another point of interest was that many of these attacks occurred during the earliest stage of the Tyranid invasion. These events were identified as anomalies because they preceded the usual time point at which a Trigon would appear as part of a Tyranid's ecological invasion. Analysis had suggested that this particular variant of Trigon is either capable of traveling with mycetic spores, or it has an alternate genetic priority so that it appears at times earlier than the norm. Additional evidence must be acquired before either mechanisms may be confirmed. Almost as debilitating as its attacks have been upon Imperial supplies, they have also been devastating to Imperial morale. Survivors of the horror's previous attacks have spread word of the nightmare it incurred. The Aculus Crusade Command has attempted to stiffen these rumors, but as necessary procedural changes have been made to counter its actions, the stories have circulated ever faster. Because some recount stories of this beast slain in a massive fireball, later confirmed sightings have also added legend of immortality to the creature's reputation. Some commanders have taken extreme reactions to the horror's presence. These include cutting fuel and ammunition reserves to extremely minimal levels, keeping supplies within transports, and repurposing armor for tank repairs as additional plating beneath structures. Several have even requested that their Adeptus Mechanicus allies install seismographic equipment so that they might be aware of any unusual motions beneath them at all times. These reactions are of course frowned upon because of their expense capabilities. Analysis of compiled imagery and witness reports have met with limited success to identify specific characteristics of this specimen. While it appears that what lies beneath is much larger than a trigon strain, a very limited number of additional identified traits have been found. In the majority of instances, the creature bore a distinctive ventral strip, but this trait was not confirmed in all attacks. This specimen has also never been confirmed as active on the battlefront within a more traditional engagement. However, it remains possible that the field units were unable to distinguish what lies beneath from a typical trigon during the course of a battlefield encounter. And those are some of the named characters of the Tyranids. Now I'm missing one really big important one, and that is Old One-Eye, but we actually have a 40 Facts video on him already. I'll put a link up above, and if not, just look it up. 40 Facts on the Old One-Eye. It's an older video, but I hope you'll enjoy. I might create another 40 Facts video on him if I ever get the model. I've always wanted to build and paint a Tyranid army. Well, I did get the chance to paint a Tyranid army, but that was a really long time ago. In the future, I think Old One-Eye would be a character that I would want to buy. But also, I hope you guys understood that it's not necessarily that I am mad that these characters are so simple and bland. What I'm slightly angry at, or what I don't like about the Tyranids, is that GW tries to make these guys seem like bigger than they actually are. Most of these was just one event, and that one event then gets like put into the codex, and they say, oh, you could use him in your next battle and stuff like that, kind of like with the Doom of Malentine. I fought against that guy a lot. We had a Tyranid player in our group, and he would use him a lot. But like I wish GW would just drop the act and realize that like the Tyranid purpose is to be animalistic. It's supposed to be build your own. I feel like these stories are kind of like when you buy a codex, like let's say you get an orc codex. There's always a timeline portion where it gives you little snippets of different campaigns that are just supposed to get the wheels turning in your head for you to create your own narrative style battles or your own homebrew versions of a warlord and stuff like that. Like I wish GW would just straight up say that. Like just said, like, you know, Tyranids are so animalistic that you kind of have to come up with your own named character for your hive fleet. Here's a list of different perks that you can give it or different buffs you can give it, and then you go on and you fight on the battlefield. I think that would be really cool. But anyways, now let's move on to the portion of the video where I answer your guys' questions and comments from yesterday's 40 Facts video, the 40 Facts and lore on the alien species known as the Lacrimal. And thank you guys so much for all the support on that video. I got a lot of likes. I really appreciate all the comments and everything. Let's drill into it. So Essay says, are there any famous space marines that were born on and recruited from Cadia before its fall? Loving your lore videos. Thanks. And no, so Cadia, as far as I know, Cadia is not a Space Marine held world. You have to remember, I talked about this in yesterday's video, but back in the day when it was the Imperial Army and they were fighting in the Great Crusade and the Emperor was still there, all the military forces were combined into the Imperial Army. After the Horus Heresy, they realized that that is too much power given to one War Master. They broke off all of the different factions. So you have the Imperial Navy, the Adeptus Astartes, the Imperial Guard, or the Astra Militarum. And Cadia was something held, or was a planet held by the Adeptus Administratum, aka the Astra Militarum. that was the purpose of that world. So it was not a Space Marine world. There might have been Space Marines on it because it was a fortress world. It's one of those worlds that's supposed to be like a bastion, basically, like a protector of a certain region. But it was not used as a recruitment world for the Space Marines. So no Cadian born would go to the Space Marines. They would go to the Astra Militarum and the Cadian Guard. So I hope that kind of clears that up. Good question, though. And then the next one comes from Rabati Tapi. Hell yeah, I was just about to go to sleep. I love to fall asleep dreaming of the grim dark space. Yes, I'm glad that you guys, because we do post these at 12 o'clock or 12 midnight Central Time. So a lot of you guys are probably going to sleep or in the process of going to sleep. So hopefully you did dream of the grim darkness that is the 40K future. I know I talk in my sleep, and I've been told many times that when I talk, I'm very clear, but I'm always talking about Warhammer. It seems like I'm talking about Warhammer, and that's probably because this is a everyday thing for me. So the other day, I was saying, put him in the Dreadnought, put him in the Dreadnought. I don't know what I was dreaming. I never remember the dreams, or I think I only know or remember 2 or 3 dreams where I was actually in the 40K universe, and that happened a really long time ago. I was still in high school. Recently, I don't remember dreaming anything about like either 40K or even the tabletop. So yeah, I wonder what I was dreaming about. Maybe I was putting the Sound Alchemist into a Dreadnought. So Dreadnought Sound Alchemist coming soon. But yeah, it's awesome that I can be there when you guys fall asleep. Next question comes from Seymour Fields. Can the Imperium just use the stapler on the Emperor's desk to close the Great Rift? At this point, no. Before it was like the Eye of Terror and the Maelstrom, but now it's like this giant terror across the galaxy. The only thing that can probably seal that up is the Cicatrice that is the Cicatrice Maledictum. The only thing that can clear it up is the Pariah Nexus, but at the cost of losing human lives and giving it over to the Necrons. Because that's basically what the pylons on Cadia were doing. They're doing the same thing that the Pariah Nexus is doing. But yeah. Luis Gonzalez, can you get a link to Safemoon? I don't think I could provide a link. If you just Google like how to buy Safemoon, there's a lot of really good YouTube channels that already do that. And for all those that don't know, Safemoon is just like a cryptocurrency token. It has like its own little tokenomics and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, this is not financial advice. I hear all the other YouTubers say that, so I'm just going to say that. This is not financial advice, but this is a really good time to dip your toes into the crypto market if you haven't done so, and just consider this a long hold. Don't think that you're going to be rich tomorrow, or that you're going to make enough money for the hounds, or that you're going to make enough money by the end of the year. This is just like a long-term hold. But yeah. And then you say, does the Imperium or the Forces of Chaos truly know what is going on in the area known as the Ghoul Stars? No, I think they're both just as clueless. Chaos, just because Chaos is like more comfortable in the Ghoul Stars, they would know. But I think it has something to do with Xenos. I'll probably do a 40 Facts video on the Ghoul Stars sometime in the future. But yeah. Next question comes from Michael McDonald again. Question. What good, brother? Last time I say brother, this time it's brother. There you go. Hey, could Belisarius Caw use the blood of a Lacrimal to somehow bring back the Big E? And thanks for answering my questions on the last video. No problem. And yes, you actually had the same idea that I had. The Lacrimal lore is kind of... It's built for Deathwatch, which Deathwatch was supposed to be kind of like a role-playing game mixed with 40K. But the whole idea of the Lacrimal is perfect for gene splicing and somehow like regenerating tissue and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it could happen. The big problem is that it just seems like it's appearance, and it's not even that good of an appearance that they're copying. So with the Emperor, you also have to think that he is the most powerful Psyker. So like in order to resurrect the most powerful Psyker, or to regenerate the most powerful Psyker, it's something major has to happen in order for that to occur. Whether that's the Lacrimal, I'm not sure, but yeah. Terrell the Goat says, these guys are just never going to get 174k subs. What the fuck, lol. I keep thinking this is the day and it won't change. The algorithm hates this channel more than Muslims hate pork. A lot of religions actually hate pork. I think Christians aren't supposed to eat pork if you actually follow the teachings. Also shrimp, for some reason. Well, not for some reason. I think it's because they eat waste. But I don't really know what's. Well, I kind of figure that something fishy's going on, because we get huge dumps of subscribers that occur. So like a bunch of subscribers will just dump at once, making it seem like there's a nefarious actor out there who's doing this on purpose. I'm not gonna point any fingers, but I think you guys know. But that's cool. Like, we're posting videos to continue to show our love to 40K and stuff like that. And it's not like I'm going to stop playing 40K or reading the lore or anything like that. So I might as well just keep posting, which is what I'm going to continue to do. But thanks for pointing that out. And I guess subscribe if you guys haven't done so already. Next question comes from Damned Legion. Why has there been no Psykers as powerful as the Emperor or Magnus in the past 40k years? Was it a peak in Psyker births? So actually, the peaks in Psyker births happened during the Age of Strife and in different situations throughout the history of the Imperium and just mankind. And it's never a good sign when there's a lot of Psyker births. The Cicatrice Maledictum actually did this. It created more Psykers. That's why we got the Psychic Awakening. But again, that's bad because these Psykers are powerful but untamed, I guess. And if you look at the most powerful Psykers that you just mentioned, the Emperor and Magnus, their existence was not natural. It's not like Magnus was just born. He was biologically engineered by the Emperor in his gene labs in the Himalayan mountains, and then luckily landed on Prospero, which was already a hub of just warp activity with the Psychnoans and the history of Nostromo. Check out our 40 facts on the I think it's Nostromo or the Planet of the Sorcerers. I can't really remember. But or even Magnus's origin. I think you can look that up. And then with the Emperor, he's also not natural. It took, is it 100 or 1,000 Psykers or human shamans to sacrifice themselves in order to create the Emperor, and the Emperor is the new man. So the reason that there hasn't been a Psyker as powerful as these two is because there's nobody to genetically engineer him. Belisarius Cawl could do it. Who else? As far as, well, I just drew a blank for some reason. Yeah, I had another person in mind, but yeah, Belisarius Cawl for sure. And then the next question comes from Rome Lazo. Is that the Void Dragon on your desk? Yes. So this is the Void Dragon. I'm going to paint him up probably next week. A friend bought this model. He wants me to paint it up, and I'm going to do a 40 facts lore or a 40 facts video on the Void. Well, probably not, because I already have a 40 facts video on the Void Dragon. Maybe on the Catan or something like that. But yeah. And then those were the questions for today. I think I didn't get through all of them, but like I said in the last video, whenever I don't get through them, I'll just answer them on the actual page and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for sending those questions. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, so that we can pass 174K, 74K, yeah. Or get to us 174K. What are we at? I don't even know how. Yeah, we're at 173. Yeah, okay. But thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, if you could put my freedom first.